Welcome to Tanzu on VMware vSphere with CloudControl integration.
So the process of enabling access control is basically transferring the control of the Tanzu Kubernetes cluster into CloudControl. So first, I'm going to show you my cluster. So I'm going to go on the Home tab, go to Inventory, Kubernetes cluster. Click on Management here, and I have my two of the clusters here. One is the manager, the other one is the Tanzu Kubernetes cluster. I'm going to click on my Tanzu Kubernetes cluster here. Once it comes up on the details pane, you're going to be able to see that the access control is disabled. Remember, when we onboarded the cluster, we did not enable access control, so it's disabled. So if I go to my command prompt, I'm already logged in here, and I try to create a pod, I should be able to create it. Okay, the pod has been created, no problem. Let me go ahead and delete the pod. Okay, and while that's being deleted, I'm gonna delete the pod. So now I go back here to CloudControl into my cluster, and I'm gonna click the disable link on the access control here on the details pane to enable it. So the access control dialog window come up, and you just have to click on the status here, enable it, and apply the changes. So access control is enabled. You can see here that's enabled. So I'm going to go back to my command prompt and I try to create the pod again. And I should get an error saying the creation of pod failed because of permission issues. So if you want to find out what's going on, you can go back to here and just go onto log analysis. So you can go here, security log analysis, and then you'll be able to see the denial right here. So I have my denied, and you can click on the operations, and you're gonna see permission denied by hard security policy. So you cannot create the error with more details. So this user does not have permissions to create the pod. So now, to be able to do this kind of operations, you have to create an access control policy, and we'll talk about that next. Now we need to create an access control policy that would allow these operations to take place. So you do this by looking at the errors in the log analysis, and I have the error here that was caused by when I attempted to create the pod, and I can see here that the user Kubernetes admin does not have that permission. So to create an access control policy, we're going to go into the Homes tab, and we're going to create security and first manifest. So we're going to create a manifest of type access control. So here it is, and I have some of them here already. I created one, it's in draft status, and I'll show that to you in a second. But to create one, you just create a plus sign and you give it a name, test, right? And then description, and the policy type must be access control type. And then you have the rules here, and you're gonna add the rules for the access control. So I'm gonna bring up mine, the one I created earlier, and here I am. I gave it a name, my access control policy, description, and then I have a rule here where I have added the role ASC container infra admin. This is the role that is allowed to do all this type of operations on the cluster, and I do the subjects who can do this. So I did the administrator at vSphere.local, the SSO, and also the Kubernetes admin user. And the way you do this is just click here. The type is going to say Kubernetes, and then you just add the information like user, colon, and then and then you just add that in there. I'm going to remove that. Once you create it, you can validate, there is a validate button, which is going to validate the policy. The policy was validated successfully. And then you can publish. So I'm going to publish. And when you publish, you have to assign to the policy to a resource. And you can do that now or later, but I'm just going to do that not now. And so the resources are going to come up, and I'm just going to click here, my Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So I'll assign, and I'm going to close successfully. Now I can go back to my command prompt now that I have the access control policy in place, and I can try creating the pod, and it should be successful. And as you can see, I'm able to create the pod. So this is how you enable an access control policy on a Tanzu Kubernetes cluster. Well, we got to the end of this presentation. Feel free to check out our documentation site for the integration guide. We create an integration guide for this, which goes into details on what we have talked here. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Thanks for watching.